He is the twisted genius behind not only the Cruiser, not only Senor Bueno, and those fabulous arm wrestling matches with the Devil Chicken. He is also the man who came up with the Ghost of Versace. He's now left San Francisco, California, and his home, the cold, mean streets of Ukiah, for Hollywood. And he's directed the animated sequences from Black Dynamite. You've seen it several times on the Starz Network, ladies and gentlemen. From Van Nuys Boulevard, Greg the Hammer Franklin. Thanks. Yeah. Give it up for Count Dante, this amazing event. Yeah. Pro wrestling writing. Yeah. I mean, you know, you could probably tell a guy like me, the thing that attracts me to pro wrestling is the insane, latent homoeroticism of wrestling. That's what I like about it. I like most of you, you know, we all watched wrestling as a kid, WWF or whatever, right? Then you become a teenager, it's too stupid, you don't watch it anymore. Then in the 90s, I'm flipping through the channels and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I gotta stop. It was Gold Dust. Fucking Gold Dust. This isn't really what Gold Dust looked like back then. This is like the 90s, like Monster Energy drink Gold Dust right here on the cover of this. But the Gold Dust I saw, when he first started, he was like a movie director. He was supposed to, because he was gold, he was supposed to look like an Oscar. Which makes perfect sense with his long blonde wig. And the fact that he was just glittering from head to toe. And it was amazing because back then, I mean, wrestling has done everything by now. But back then, it was still kind of like a total, like a Marcus Bachman kind of world, you know, where like, it was like Larry Craigland in wrestling, where like there was no, he was the first to take the kind of gay angle, which is nothing new, obviously, in wrestling. Has been Gorgeous George and Adrian Adonis and these guys like that. But Goldust was the first to be like, what the fuck? This is amazing. And it caused me not only to watch it, but to kind of follow him into a weird 7-year stint of wrestling myself. In a 7-year stint of like fake ring glory and incredibly real stunted emotional intellectual development that I went through. So, without further ado, Crossroads, Gold Dust Out of the Darkness by Dustin Rhodes. Right. By the way, Dustin Rhodes was not like Andy Kaufman style brilliant performance artist. He was the son of the incredible, like the amazingly, enormously poetic, a wrestling legend, American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And he did what he was told, which was kiss dudes. So let's get right onto it. In the months following WrestleMania, Goldust was at his height of popularity. My life might have been stressful and difficult outside the ring, but once I walked through that curtain, it was magic. I had a little bit of an angle with Shawn Michaels. We tore the house down every night because he was the champion. Champion is capitalized, by the way. This is like the biggest text I've ever seen in a book that's not a kid's book. Anybody that would give this book to a kid is fucked up. Jesus. All right. Suddenly, I was wrestling main events everywhere. We were having a great time. I had Goldust down to an art form. I agree with that. I knew exactly when to do something, when to say the perfect line to get the audience on their feet, screaming things they didn't even know they were capable of screaming in public. I'm going to interrupt this book a few times. I saw some of this stuff. I saw Goldust's first match on, it was a WrestleMania in Fresno. This was total homophobia bait. Like these guys were running to the ring, screaming things that you would only hear, you know, like Michael Richards, you know, say. Crazy shit. There were guys trying to jump the rail and get into the ring. They threw coins, paper, and all kinds of junk into the ring. The catchphrase I had developed with Savio came in handy in other places too. I do something to Sean, then roll out of the ring. Finally, the fans were booing so much that I'd grab the mic and say, if you don't shut your mouths right now, I will come out there and stick my cock down each and every one of your throats. In New York, they went insane, screaming in Spanish, cussing. I did that in Detroit with Sean. I wonder what he means by that. I did that in Detroit with Sean. This time they started throwing things into the ring. I waved my arms, mouthing to the crowd. Which turned out to be the wrong thing to do in Detroit. I had them worked up that it almost got out of control. Sean actually had to leave the ring because there was so much stuff flying in. I just stood there getting pinged with quarters and all the other junk. It was great. At the end of the run with Sean, I could see a change in the direction Goldust was heading. Great writing. Maybe I was becoming a little more insecure, or maybe the drugs were starting to bend my mind. Fucking poor Dustin Runnels. I did a vignette aimed at Ahmed Johnson, a large African-American superstar. Goldust was naked on a couch. I love how he switches from the third to the first person. I had my Intercontinental belt lying over me, and I was talking all this crazy stuff to Ahmed. Then I pulled out a Hershey's chocolate bar.
Oh my God.
I started talking about how much I just loved the way the chocolate melted in my mouth and stuff like that. It was sick. That led to a shoot we did in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Ahmed was knocked out during a match, and as they pushed him out of the arena on the gurney, I intervened. I pushed the EMS guys out back and I said, "Oh, I can help him." I started rubbing his head. Then I picked up his face and started giving him mouth to mouth, which revived him. I think he saved this guy's life, right? When Ahmed woke up, his eyes were wide open like he was freaking out. He got up off the gurney and I took off down the hall. Ahmed was furious, tearing doors off the wall, breaking everything. That led right up to the match where he took my title. Goldust lost the gold to Ahmed Johnson, the King of the Ring, in 1996. Things were changing, I could feel it. Vince was getting a lot of criticism for different groups. Parents were calling headquarters and complaining about Goldust. What the fuck? How can you complain about this? This is pure entertainment. Some of them didn't want their kids watching if Goldust was performing. See, I only watched if Goldust was performing. Other shit was boring. An article in the New York Times came out saying gay rights activists were upset over the character. They're probably from San Francisco. The ratings were good. As far as I was concerned, it wasn't my problem. Yeah. I was having fun doing my job. I couldn't see the larger picture, and I'm not even sure how much I cared to see it. Wow. Needless to say, my insecurities started to rise toward the surface. There were a couple of times when Vince told me not to do something, and I did it anyway. "Don't rub up to anyone in the ring tonight," he would say before a match. I did it anyway, and he was furious. That seems a little suspect to me. He told me he'd fire me right there on the spot if I ever did something like that again. I apologized, but I still slipped up a couple more times. In a way, I think I knew it was all coming to an end. The roller coaster was gathering speed on the way down, and I was having a hard time hanging on. Fucking gold dust, everybody. Give it up for fucking Dustin.